The sudden blackout swallowed the entire office floor in darkness, and a wave of panic swept through the employees. Computer screens died, machines stopped humming, and whispers echoed in the dim hallway. Mia, the newly appointed manager, switched on her phone flashlight and moved calmly between desks, reassuring worried staff that everything would be fine. Outside, rain hammered against the windows, lightning flashing with a fierce rhythm. It was her first week on the job, and this storm felt like an unwanted test. Still, Mia carried herself with confidence, hiding her own uneasiness behind a composed, steady expression. Minutes later, the faint sound of footsteps echoed from the stairwell. A man entered the corridor, carrying a worn metal toolbox. His clothes were slightly damp from the heavy rain, and beside him stood a little girl, no more than 6 years old, clutching his hand tightly. This was Daniel, the single father assigned to handle late-night maintenance emergencies. Mia hadn't met him before, but something about his calm presence immediately eased her worry. His daughter, Lily, peeked curiously around the hallway, her big eyes reflecting fear and trust all at once as she stuck close to her father's side. Daniel wasted no time and headed toward the generator room. Mia followed, lighting the way, while Lily walked between them with small, quiet steps. Each thunderous boom outside made her flinch, and Daniel gently squeezed her hand, whispering comforting words. Mia found herself watching that simple gesture more than she expected. Inside the generator room, the air was thick with the smell of metal and rain-soaked dust. Daniel knelt by the silent machine, unlocking his toolbox with practiced movements. His focus was sharp, steady, and surprisingly graceful. Mia felt the tension of the building slowly breaking apart just by watching him work. As Daniel opened the generator panel, sparks flickered weakly, hinting at deeper issues. Mia hovered nearby, holding her flashlight steady. "Your team must be stressed," Daniel said softly without looking up. Mia nodded with a faint smile. "First blackout of my first week. Quite the welcome," he chuckled under his breath, offering a brief moment of warmth in the tense atmosphere. Lily leaned against her father's shoulder, watching him with admiration only a child could have. Mia wondered what it must feel like to have someone rely on you with such innocent, unwavering trust. Daniel carefully rewired a loose connection, then checked a fuse that had blown from the storm's surge. His steady hands moved with confidence, each motion revealing years of experience. Despite the stressful situation, he remained patient, explaining each step in a gentle tone for Lily, who listened intently. Mia found herself unexpectedly captivated not just by his skill, but by his character. There was no arrogance, no rush, only quiet responsibility. She admired how he balanced being a professional and a father simultaneously. The generator crackled softly, almost as if responding to his touch, and hope stirred in the stillness of the room. While Daniel tightened the last bolt, Lily shyly walked toward Mia, tugging on her sleeve. "Are you scared of storms?" she asked. Mia knelt down, surprised. "A little," she admitted, honestly. Lily nodded. "Daddy says storms are loud because clouds are bumping into each other." Mia couldn't help but smile. The conversation was simple, innocent, but it warmed her heart more than she expected. It reminded her of a childhood she rarely thought about anymore. Quiet afternoons, rainy windows, her mother humming softly. Lily's presence felt like a small light in the middle of the storm. With one final adjustment, Daniel stepped back from the generator. "Try it now," he said. Mia flipped the main switch. A loud hum filled the room, and lights flickered back to life across the office floor. The building buzzed with revived energy. Staff members cheered in distant rooms. Relief washed over Mia, and she found herself smiling with genuine gratitude. Daniel exhaled slowly, his shoulders relaxing for the first time since he entered. Lily clapped excitedly and hugged him. The moment felt almost magical, warm and comforting, like witnessing a small victory shared between a father, his daughter, and a stranger who suddenly mattered. As Mia walked him back to the entrance, she noticed how tired Daniel looked beneath his calm exterior. He had the kind of face that carried stories: responsibility, sacrifice, resilience. "Thank you," she said softly. "You saved us tonight." Daniel shrugged with modesty. "Just doing my job." But Mia could see it was more than that. He had braved the rain, brought his daughter along at night, and still carried himself with grace. Lily yawned, leaning into her father's leg. Mia felt her chest tighten with an emotion she hadn't expected, something gentle, something meaningful. Before they could step outside, Lily tugged again on Mia's sleeve, her wide eyes glimmering with innocence. She leaned forward and whispered softly, "She's my mom. Marry her." Time seemed to freeze. Mia blinked, stunned. Daniel's face flushed instantly, and he sputtered, "Lily, no, sweetheart." Lily only smiled proudly, as if announcing something incredibly important. Mia felt a laugh rise in her chest, mixed with tenderness and disbelief. Something inside her melted, something she had sealed off for years. Lily's words, innocent and hopeful, touched a part of Mia she didn't know still existed. Daniel knelt beside Lily, flustered but gentle. "Sweetheart, you can't just say that to people." Lily pouted and crossed her arms. "But she's nice, and she smiled at you." Mia's cheeks warmed despite herself. Daniel scratched the back of his neck, embarrassed yet trying to remain composed. "I'm really sorry." he muttered. Mia shook her head softly. Don't be... She's adorable. Their eyes met brief, hesitant, warm. The storm outside suddenly felt quieter, as if giving space to the delicate moment unfolding between them. Mia sensed something shifting, something unspoken yet unmistakably real. When they stepped outside, the rain had softened to a drizzle. The street lights reflected off the wet pavement, casting a soft glow around them. Daniel lifted Lily into his arms, and she rested her head on his shoulder, already half asleep. Mia watched the scene, her heart unexpectedly full. There was something powerful in the way Daniel held his daughter with protectiveness, love, and unwavering commitment. She imagined how lonely life must have been for him, raising a child alone, working late nights like this. And yet, he carried it all with such grace. It stirred something deep inside, her respect, admiration, and a quiet longing she dared not name. Daniel cleared his throat softly. Thank you for being patient. Most managers would have complained. Mia looked at him with gentle eyes. Maybe you haven't met the right managers, she said. A small smile tugged at his lips. There was a warmth between them now, soft, fragile, growing. The storm clouds above were parting, letting faint moonlight spill through. For a moment, the world felt still, as if time held its breath for them. Mia felt a strange pull in her heart. A connection she couldn't explain but didn't want to ignore. As Daniel walked toward the parking lot, Mia found herself calling out, Daniel. He paused, turning halfway. She hesitated, unsure of her own courage. If you ever need anything, or if Lily wants to visit, you can stop by the office anytime. Daniel blinked, surprised. His expression softened. Thank you, he said quietly. It wasn't a promise, but it wasn't nothing either. Lily waved sleepily at her, mumbling, Bye, Mommy. Daniel groaned under his breath, but Mia laughed softly, her heart aching in a beautiful way. She waved back, unsure when she had last felt so alive. That night, Mia lay awake, listening to the fading rain. Her thoughts replayed each small moment, the spark of the generator lighting up, Lily's innocent whisper, Daniel's shy smile. She had come into this job expecting stress, pressure, and responsibility. She hadn't expected warmth, connection, or the gentle tug of fate pulling at her heart. Something had shifted inside her, quiet but undeniable. She had felt alone for so long that she'd forgotten what genuine connection felt like. Now, she found herself wanting to explore it, to understand the man who had walked into her storm and unknowingly changed everything. In the days that followed, Mia looked forward to seeing Daniel again, though she didn't admit it aloud. She wondered what Lily would say next, what new unexpected moment might unfold. Somewhere deep inside, she sensed that life had given her a small sign wrapped in an innocent whisper. Maybe it meant nothing, or maybe it meant everything. Daniel had stepped into her world in the midst of darkness, and somehow, he had left behind a glimmer of light. And Mia, for the first time in years, felt ready to follow wherever that light might lead. The moment Lily's tiny voice whispered those unexpected words, the entire room seemed to fall silent. Mia felt the breath catch in her throat as she looked into the little girl's hopeful eyes. There was no mischief there, no childish prank, only sincere longing. Daniel, embarrassed beyond measure, tried to gently pull his daughter back, mumbling apologies. But Lily clung to Mia's arm with the trust of a child searching for something she had missed her whole life. Mia felt her heart soften in ways she hadn't felt in years. She knelt slowly, her eyes level with Lily's, unsure what to say. Daniel's hands trembled slightly as he wiped the last bit of oil from his wrench. He was a hard worker, a man who rarely let anything faze him, but this moment was different. He had shielded Lily from so much after losing her mother, doing everything alone, working multiple jobs, waking early, sleeping late. He knew Lily craved a mother's warmth, something he couldn't replace. Seeing her cling to Mia, a woman they barely knew, filled him with guilt and fear. What if he had failed her emotionally? What if she truly felt alone? Mia gently cupped Lily's cheek, brushing back her soft hair with care. She had always been good with children, though she never had any of her own. The warmth of Lily's little hand against hers stirred something deep inside, a tenderness she'd forgotten she was capable of. Sweetheart, she whispered, I'm not your mom, but I'm here. Lily smiled, not disappointed, not even close. To her, Mia's kindness was enough. In that moment, Mia realized that this wasn't just about a cute misunderstanding. It was the beginning of something fragile and profoundly meaningful. Daniel finally stepped forward, clearing his throat, his voice low with embarrassment. Lily, sweetheart, you can't just say things like that. Lily looked up at him with innocent confusion, the kind that stabbed him right in the chest. But Daddy, she replied softly, she's kind, and pretty, and she makes you smile. Mia's gaze flickered to Daniel's face. He did smile, shy, small, the kind that came from a place he didn't open often. He shook his head helplessly, cheeks coloring, and Mia found herself laughing gently, the tension dissolving into something warm and natural. The storm outside continued to rumble, shaking the windows as the lights flickered one last time before stabilizing. Mia noticed Daniel shiver slightly, his shirt damp from the rain. his hair messy from rushing over. He looked exhausted, like a man who had been fighting life alone for far too long. She grabbed a towel from the office kitchenette and handed it to him. He hesitated for a second before taking it, murmuring a quiet thank you. For the first time, Mia saw him not just as the generator technician, but as a patient, doing his best. The employees slowly returned to their desks, chattering about the power outage, but Mia remained with Daniel and Lily in the hallway, unable to walk away from them. Something about the two pulled her in their simplicity, their bond, the way Lily stood between them as if she already saw a family forming. Mia felt a surprising sense of comfort around them, as though the storm outside connected them in ways she couldn't articulate. She didn't know why, but she wanted to spend more time with them, to understand them, to feel what she felt in this moment again. Daniel, still awkward from Lily's bold declaration, tried to gather their belongings. "We'll get out of your way now," he said quietly, but Mia shook her head. "No need," she replied softly. "Stay a little. The storm hasn't passed, and it's safer inside." Lily immediately brightened, taking Mia's hand as though it were the most natural thing in the world. Daniel's eyes softened with gratitude. He wasn't used to receiving kindness, especially from strangers. Yet here Mia stood, offering shelter, warmth, and something he couldn't quite name. He felt a strange tug at his chest. Unfamiliar, but not unwelcome. They moved to the small break room, where Mia made hot chocolate for Lily and coffee for Daniel. The simple act felt domestic, almost intimate, as though they were already a small family escaping the storm together. Lily sat between them, sipping happily, swinging her tiny legs. "Do you fix everything, Daddy?" she asked innocently. Daniel chuckled. "I try to." Ia watched him with curiosity. "How long have you been doing this?" she asked. He paused, eyes distant. "Since Lily was born. Her mom passed when she was 6 months old. I had to learn everything at home and at work." The room fell quiet for a moment as Mia absorbed his words. His strength humbled her. She had admired successful men before, but none had impressed her the way Daniel did. Not because of wealth, power, or status, but because of sacrifice. He lived for his daughter, worked for her, breathed for her. It was the kind of love that didn't fade, didn't break, didn't quit. "That must have been hard," Mia whispered. Daniel nodded slowly. "It was, but she saved me too." Lily leaned against him lovingly, her eyes closing with comfort. Mia felt her chest tighten with admiration. As the storm softened to a gentle rain, Mia found herself sharing her own story. She told them how she moved to the city after a painful breakup, how she buried herself in work to avoid loneliness, how her new managerial position left her constantly trying to prove herself. Daniel listened with genuine interest, something she wasn't used to. Most people only pretended, but Daniel paid attention, his eyes warm, patient. Lily eventually fell asleep on her father's lap, her cheek resting peacefully against him. Mia's heart swelled at the sight. It felt like a scene she wanted to step into. Daniel spoke quietly, as if afraid to break the moment. "I'm sorry about earlier." "What?" Lily said. Mia shook her head gently. "Don't be. She's just a child with a big heart." He smiled but looked down at his hands, struggling with something inside him. "I just don't want her to get attached too easily. Life hasn't been gentle with us." Mia understood more than he realized. "Maybe," she whispered, "life brings the right people at the right time." Daniel froze. For a moment, neither spoke. They simply sat beside each other, listening to the rain, connected by silence and possibility. When the storm finally cleared, Daniel lifted Lily gently into his arms. Mia walked them to the exit, feeling a strange heaviness in her chest. She didn't want them to leave. The night felt different, full of meaning. She didn't want to lose. Daniel hesitated near the door. "Thank you for everything." Mia stepped closer, her voice soft. "Will I see you again?" Daniel wasn't expecting the question. His breath caught. She wasn't asking out of politeness. She genuinely wanted to see him, see Lily, see the connection forming between them. "If you want to," he answered honestly. Bia pulled a small card from her pocket and scribbled her personal number on it. "Not the office line," she clarified with a shy smile. "This one's just for people who matter." Daniel's chest tightened. He didn't know how he had become someone who mattered to a woman like her, but he wasn't going to question it. He tucked the card carefully into his jacket. Their fingers brushed lightly, just a touch, but enough to send a quiet spark between them. "Good night, Mia," he whispered. She swallowed. "Good night, Daniel." "Good night, Lily." As they walked into the night, Mia stood by the door, watching them until they disappeared down the wet street. Her heart beat differently, now slower, fuller, hopeful. She didn't know what fate had planned, but she knew one thing. She wanted to be part of their world. Lily's innocent whisper had planted something inside her, a seed of possibility. Maybe love didn't always arrive grandly. Sometimes it walked in carrying a toolbox, holding a child's hand, and fixing more than just a generator. Maybe it fixed hearts too. And Mia, for the first time in a long time, felt ready to let hers be repaired.